My name is Redim, and today I'm interviewing my friend Joel, also known as Subtle Static, and he has released an album called Sanctuary. This is also kind of the first time we're talking, really. We've known each other for a few years through a group chat on Instagram. Shout out to Bangers. Gianni, Dario, Relative Visions brought me in, man of many aliases. But yeah, I'm super excited to talk to you and have a conversation. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, for sure, man. Happy to be here and have a bit of a chat about this album that we've put together.
For sure, dude. How long were you working on it?
This is probably the quickest album I've probably written. So I think January, I was kind of out of work for a bit and was like, hey, there's this January challenge where you had to write a beat every day and just throw it out there. So I kind of was just making a beat every day with the idea of releasing it on Instagram, just seeing what happened. So the majority of the idea behind Sanctuary was kind of just to I guess showcase some of the stuff that came out of that month, which was a brutal month. Like I kind of started hating it towards the end. It was like, oh crap, I've got to go make another song now.
Yeah.
But no, it was actually really good for me. Like it knocked me out of a massive writer's block. So if anyone's in a writer's block, January was awesome. Yep.
Hell yeah, dude. I did something similar a few years ago. I made it up. It wasn't a thing, but I did March Madness, where I did beat every day of March. I think I made it about 17 days, and I started a full-time job like smack bang right in the middle of March. And I'm like, you know what? No one's going to call me out on this. Screw integrity.
I thought that myself, and then I was like, I've got to do it. I've started
Did you finish it? Did you do all of January?
I did. I think there was a couple of days where I had like some hectic stuff going on. Like I actually had a job interview, which I scored,
Nice.
which is great. Still there now, and they're awesome. Yeah, so that day I think I just kind of put something out which I was working on for a while and was like, I made this. Didn't do it today, but I still made it. So kind of like an unreleased showcase. I think a couple of those made it on the album. Like Halberd was one, which I had been working on that for probably a solid year beforehand and just didn't do anything with it. And I was like, you know what, let's put this on there. Yeah.
That was one of my favorites. It's track 3.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun messing with that one. It took a long time to kind of work out what to do with the intro, and yeah, it worked out in the end. It's lots of fun, that one. I just kind of messed around.
It is weird. It's got a weird fun style to it.
Yeah, it's 5/4 time signature, so a little bit weird in some spots there, and yeah, tempo changes, so lots of fun.
Awesome, dude. Can you tell us about the features on the album? How did you link up with Hampton Park and I don't know how to pronounce her surname, but Melina Clarici, maybe?
Melina Clarici, yeah. So Melina's actually my sister, believe it or not. So, and she just happens to be quite a good singer. So we kind of occasionally, whenever she comes down to Brisbane from Sunshine Coast, we'll have a bit of a jam session and just write a few tracks there. I think there was one a few years back called Free, which I released with her as well. So that turned out really well. And yeah, we just, being siblings, we kind of work pretty well together. And then, yeah, Hampton Park, he's another Australian producer. So we kind of linked up through the Flume Reddit because he was kind of managing like the Discord on it or something like that on a couple of competitions. And he'd kind of hit me up for a few sample pack competitions and things like that ages back on the Flume Discord. So we kind of knew each other that way. And then when I was doing all the January stuff, he was like, "Hey, I love this track. Can you send me the stems and I'll see what I can do there?" So yeah, we kind of just worked on that, and that turned out really cool. Probably one of my favorite tracks on the albums there.
Hell yeah. What happened next? Was it bouncing back and forth, or?
Yeah, lots of bouncing back and forth. Like, I think I sent him the stems, he sent me back what he'd done, and I was like, whoa, okay, that's super catchy, because he kind of did like a lot of the vocal glitching stuff in the chorus, and kind of started to build the second chorus. And then I was like, I reckon I could tie that in somewhere. So just kind of started working on. It was a bit of a weird song structure, because it kind of started off with an intro, then chorus, then a completely different chord progression, then a completely different chorus. It was a bit of a ride, that one, but I think we made it work. It sounded really cool at the end.
Yeah, man, if the end product works, doesn't matter how you got there, right?
Yeah. Not really like super structured in any, I guess, orthodox way. It was just more an experiment, that one, which was lots of fun to make.
Yeah, one thing that I love about making music is the happy accidents. They're my favorite. You can never plan for it, but you just have to be grateful every time they come, I think.
Absolutely. Like, I think that's what 95% of January was. It was like, after it, I was like, yeah, that one sucks, so I'll just push that to the side, and just picked out the ones that actually worked. And I was like, okay, we could do something with that.
Beautiful. What percentage of the album was made up of stuff that started in January?
Good question.
We don't have to be.
I feel like I'm gonna have to just.
We won't fact check.
Yeah. It's probably it's probably like 75% of the album was January. Like, I'm looking at it now, and pretty much all of these were, except for Halberd, which was in the works for ages. Monarch, which was track number 4. That was going to be on the Enjoy album, but I decided to leave it off there because I didn't like it at the time. Then kind of messed with it and made it work eventually for this album.
That was a while ago, so that one's been in the works for what, three
Yeah, long time, that one. So that was just kind of like sitting on my computer, and I found it, and I was like, oh, heck, hang on, we can make that work now. I know what to do with that 3 years later.
I also really liked Tokyo drifting in a Toyota Prius. That was so fun and just weird.
It was a complete joke. But
was there a sample in there, or was that all you?
That was you know Spitfire Labs?
Yeah.
The plugin. I think I just used like a mandolin pluck or something out of that, and compressed the hell out of it, and put Isotope Trash 2 on it, and just turned it into some weird oriental synth, and kind of built off that.
Hell yeah.
Lots of fun, that one. That was just, but it was a complete joke at the same time. It kind of had like a really...
That takes the pressure off too, though, like when taking it serious.
That one was complete fun, and I was like, you know what? I hate the name, but at the same time, I love it. It fits the vibe a bit.
For sure.
It used to have a really corny rap in it, and I was like, nah.
It's gotta go.
Why is it not happening there?
Well, how about if enough people go buy a sample pack, we can release that.
Oh yeah. If I get 100 sales on my sample pack, I'll release the corny rap version. It's really bad.
Make it happen, people. How long have you been making music, dude?
Oh, far out. I started electronic music when I was probably about 15. 26 now, so like 11 years doing electronic stuff.
Wow.
Back when I was 15, I was rubbish, didn't know what I was doing, kind of just worked everything out on Ableton with the Live 9 manual that came with the CD pack, because I didn't have internet back then, so it's just like
that far back.
Oh yeah, it was bad, but got through. And yeah, like before that, I've always grown up around guitars. Yeah, so
you said your sister sings as well.
Yeah.
Do you come from a musical family?
Not heaps. So like my sister's always played guitar and that kind of thing. Parents, not so much. Like my dad played piano a little bit, but that's about it. So I think like my two sisters are a little bit on the musical side. Myself, I've kind of really gotten into it. Clearly with everything. So, but yeah, not necessarily from a musical family, and just all us kids kind of got into it and loved it. So
nice. I've always admired how much like consistent, prolific output of music you do.
I feel like I don't know enough.
Really? You've released 2 albums in the last couple of years, and you've got family life and work.
Oh yeah.
How do you like approach balancing it all?
It's not easy. Because yeah, like I've got quite a lot of responsibilities. Because like I'm married with 2 kids, full-time job as well, and then kind of just balancing music in with that whenever I get a bit of spare time. Like I'm pretty fortunate where I think my kids like to sleep in a little bit. So I kind of just get up early and put the headphones on and start making tracks in the morning before work, because it's work from home, which is great. So I can kind of just...
How good is that?
Yeah, I don't necessarily like have to stop at 7 o'clock and drive into Brisbane for work or anything like that. I just log in on my computer and get going, and yeah, no, it's good. I kind of only just managed to kind of balance everything, but yeah, it goes all right.
That's the way. The way. How did you come up with your name?
Subtle Static.
I've ever asked you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good question. I guess like ages ago, like long time ago, I was under, and I don't think anyone really remembers it, but I was under like another artist name called Survey, which had like a deer thing for a logo. That was my 15-year-old coming up with brand logos and crap.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, I'm gonna change this. I gotta do something fresh, because like I didn't have a real big following, because no one could find the name. Because
how is it spelled? Like based on how you said it, I would never know how to.
Yeah. See, that was the problem. Like no one could spell it, so no one could find it. Like Cierve with like the little apostrophe on the top of the E.
You went all out.
Yeah, it was a bad idea. If anyone's looking for music names, don't do that. Not good for analytics or anything like that. And yeah, Subtle Static was one of those names I'd kind of been playing with, because like I was back then when I came up with the name, I was kind of putting like a lot of soft analog or vinyl noise in the backs of my tracks, and I was like, yeah, most of my tracks have this kind of subtle static in the end there, and yeah, that's kind of how I came up with that anyway.
I like that. It makes sense.
That works.
It rolls off the tongue. It's an alliteration too. So
yeah.
That's always great.
No, it's I think it works. I'll probably stick with that for a while.
Is there any time in the last 11 years where you've wanted to quit making music that you could tell us about, or the closest thing?
Definitely beat block, like writer's block, kicked in at one point. It was probably not long after I moved to Brisbane, where I was just I couldn't come up with anything. I was like, nah, pushed it all aside, kind of didn't touch it for like 6 months straight. I think this was like before any of the Subtle Static stuff came out. Because Because the Ciove stage was really a bit of a struggle. Like nothing was happening with it. It was just kind of, I was just throwing stuff out there, and then when I was trying to make new music, it just wasn't working. I wasn't coming up with any ideas. And yeah, I don't really know what got me out of it. I think that was just like one day I was like, you know what, I'll just sit down and see what happens. And occasionally I'd come up with something, but yeah, and then it kind of just gradually progressed out of that writer's block. But yeah, there was probably a good 6-month period where I was like, nah, I can't do anything that actually sounds good.
How did you feel coming out of that?
It was really good. Like I'd kind of, when I got back into it, it was like I kind of rearranged my little studio that I had back in the unit that we were living in back at that time. Mind you, no kids back then. But so it was a lot easier to have a little bit of free time there. So I had like a full room set up as a studio and just kind of started to rearrange that, change the environment. That I think kind of helped me just get into the right mindset for it. But yeah, I mean, we've moved here probably like 2 years ago, and this place is quite good. Yeah, good little setup in here.
It does look like a nice little setup.
Yeah.
You've got a few guitars behind you.
There is a few. Sorry, what was that?
Any other instruments?
Yeah, it's a little bit messy at the moment. I need to clean it up, but there's like there's a few analog synths over there.
Nice.
There's all the guitars there, just a few microphones around, but a lot of the stuff I'm using at the moment is just kind of like virtual synths and things like that, using a lot of synplant and silence and serum, all sorts of stuff like that.
You cut out for a second. You said you used a lot of synplant and then something else.
Oh yeah, a lot of synplant and silence I've been using, and
right.
A little bit of serum if I feel like making something crazy.
I love silent. I still use it.
Yeah, just like the presets on it. Even like I used to be like anti preset, but since getting silent, it's like, you know what? There's so many cool packs for this. I might as well just start using the presets on this. Everyone does it.
For sure. I might ask you to send me a few of those offline.
Yeah. Well, I'll send you some packs. They're pretty good.
I think I remember in an old Flume interview, when he was promoting his first album, the self-titled one.
Yeah.
I think he said he used Silence pretty much for everything on that.
Yeah.
It's
Have you got Silence?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you like filter through the preset packs on that thing, I can recognize a lot of them. Like you listen through it, it's like, oh, hang on, that's from that track on the album. That's familiar. Where he got it from.
Yeah. I think we're kind of wrapping up. Is there anything that you wish that I would have asked you that I haven't? Anything you want people to know?
Anything I want people to know? Not necessarily. I haven't got anything specific to say. It's just, yeah, new album. Feel free to go listen. It was a little bit of a 1 month put together project, and then kind of finished it off a few months after, and was like, you know what? Here's everything. This is what I came up with in a month, roughly. But yeah, some really cool ideas on there. Some fun collabs.
Do you have a favorite track off the album?
It's a hard question. I actually really like the second track, Here For You. And yeah, the collaboration with Hampton Park was so much fun to make, and I think it just came out really cool. So probably between those two.
And you sing on the album quite a bit. You're not just a producer.
Yeah. So on Here For You, I've got some singing in it. Let You Down, I've got some singing in it. The Way That You Care, and even on Insecure, I kind of did like a little bit of backing vocals with my sister on that one. So yeah, there's like 4 or 5 tracks on there that have vocals in it.
Cool stuff, dude. Cool stuff. Yeah. It's been awesome to talk to you. I'm glad that we've known each other for a while, like peripherally.
Yeah, man.
On Instagram. It's good to finally actually meet you.
Yeah, I think there's been a couple of Discord chats or whatever or something a while back. But yeah, nice to finally get to have a proper conversation with you, man.
Yeah, man. Likewise. If I do more of these, hopefully this isn't a one-off. I've had a good time the last 20 minutes or so speaking to you.
Yeah,
Love to have you back one day.
Of course, man. Anytime.
Thanks for being my first guest.
Too easy.
Before we wrap up, where can people find you online?
All right. I'm pretty active on Instagram. That's probably my best form of contacting me, I guess. If anyone wants to work, I'm down for collabs 100%. Yeah, so Instagram's pretty much the go for me. And yeah, there's just a little link tree in my bio if you want to catch any of my other links.
Awesome. Thanks, Joel.
Yeah, too easy. Thanks, Ben.
A Gargoyle Boulevard production.